2015, after almost 15 years of study, I achieved a 3rd-degree black belt in Kenpo karate.
That's hard.
Yes, it is.
That is hard.
It is intense.
I know some brothers that did that. That was like, yo, I'm done with this. Like, congrats.
Thank you. So you can imagine how stunned we were a year later in April 2016 when I was diagnosed with aggressive stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma that had invaded my chest and my spine. Like the 7,000 Delawareans who are going to be diagnosed with cancer this year, our lives were forever changed.
Wow.
Yes.
At the time of diagnosis, the assessment was I was 7 to 10 days from being completely paralyzed and 3 weeks from dying. That of my doctor's career, I was his full-blown emergency.
Wow.
The phone call was, be in this office in an hour, pack a bag, you're not going home, you're being admitted directly to Christiana. But we were cycled through heart study, lung study, blood work, and by late afternoon that same day, I was on chemo.
Wow.
And our heads were spinning.
Wow.
Wow.
We did 5.5 months of intense chemo, meaning every 3 weeks, I did 96 continuous hours of chemotherapy. When that was done, we did a high dose, high risk inpatient chemo. And when that was done, almost a month of radiation. I was pronounced in remission. And 6 weeks ago, we attended our son's wedding and I danced. Truly danced
you didn't
with
get off
him.
that floor.
No, I didn't.
You know, and Jan, and for people that are just tuning in, because we need to reintroduce her again.
I'm all about it, please.
Because
It deserves
that. Yeah, exactly. So,
It deserves a reintroduction.
yes.
Yes.
So Jan White is the leader ambassador of the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network here in Delaware. Right?
Correct.
And if you're just tuning in, she is just telling us her journey from being a black belt in Kenpo to discovering that she had with cancer. I didn't know. We talked before to just like do some business together before, right? And then she reached out. She's like, Ivan, how are you doing? I'm like, hey, Jan. And I never. And it's funny. You just never know someone's story.
No.
So and it's such an important story because there's a lot. You said 7,000 people in Delaware
Will be diagnosed with cancer this year is the estimate, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
I mean, I have goosebumps.
Yeah, me too.
Because you hearing your story, Jan, and you never can tell, right? You never can tell when you wear it well. Let's just say you are very strong, resilient. You can tell just by when you're sharing your story with us. I'm like, wow, you didn't even have time to process everything.
No,
just go to the doctors. You're
go
staying.
right into chemo.
We were there straight into within, that afternoon, Mike and I were like, what just happened?
Right.
What just happened?
And your whole life changed.
Everything.
Overnight. But you are here today
Yes.
to share your story and to share with the world that you are a fighter.
Yes.
And we talked about this off camera, and we have to say it on camera that it's 80% mental, right?
Yes. That what I was told that first night, one of the nurses, because who could sleep that first night?
Right.
She's like, 80% of this is attitude,
Yes.
and you have it. I was like, okay, bring it on.
Right.
That's right.
Is that Kenpo training?
That is.
Discipline in Kenpo.
Yes.
That'll do it to you.
Who knew, right?
If I get a 500-pound guy off me, I could damn sure beat this.
That's right.
I will tell you, I do miss dropping 6-foot guys on the ground.
I think that was a shot to me, but being you're a black girl, you got that.
Never.
Don't mess with Jan.
Right. You got all that shit.
Noted.
Oh my gosh.
Well, let's talk about the American Cancer Society. I think that's really important
Yeah, it
that
is.
we dive into that as well. So let's touch on that.
So coming out of treatment, I knew I wanted to do something to give what we now call the adventure purpose, to give it meaning. So I became a volunteer legislative patient advocate with the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network. And I will tell you, the first time I felt empowered over this beast was the first time I walked up the steps of Capitol Hill to advocate.
Wow.
We meet with legislators and discuss legislation that will support cancer patients and their families, because let's be honest, they have hundreds of bills that go across their desks each week, both state and federal, So it's our job to bring attention to the bills that matter for these families.
And how's that going, Jan? Because like you said, they hear hundreds of bills, and there's a lot of people in Delaware alone just suffering from cancer.
Yes, absolutely. It goes really well. There's always more work to be done.
Right.
Some of the bigger things we're advocating for right now is the Diverse Trials Act. It's around clinical trials. Let's be honest, most of the clinical trials that take place in this country are at major metropolitan centers, which means lots of audiences are cut out. People who need to be in these trials for distance, for transportation, for technology, for housing. So this bill is designed to support those families so they can sign on for the clinical trials.
And are you finding like low-income
That's
families, people of color?
It's a huge part of it because, let's be honest, the clinical trials right now do not reflect the population because a lot of these barriers. So we need to bring down the barriers so the trials can look like our population.
Understood. Say less. We totally get it. We hear that the disparity in all healthcare alone across the playing field with people of color, people living in marginalized communities, and especially women.
Yes.
Especially women.
And women of color especially as well.
Yeah.
Totally.
What advice would you give someone? Because now it's like you go from being the person involved to now the teacher, the subject matter expert, the one people rely on for hope, right?
Okay, so the first place people should go to is fightcancer.org. That tells you them all about our organization and what we do. The other thing I've coached some of our team members on is remember that in this particular space, we are the experts.
Right.
They are not.
Right,
they're very smart, they're very talented, they're very passionate, all our legislators. But in this particular field, we are the experts, and it's our job to educate them about why these things are important and what change needs to happen.
Right.
So what change does need to happen?
That's right in my mind, girl.
I'm glad to see we have alignment.
I knew you were thinking it,
Right,
so I'm like, let me put that out there.
A few big things are funding for National Institute of Health and National Cancer Institute. We certainly understand why the last few years a lot of resources were donated to COVID. That had to happen, a worldwide pandemic. But as we're coming into whatever this new normal is, it's time to turn our attention to the other C, cancer, and make sure that that is impacted for research as well.
Yes. So could you tell us some statistics, share with our viewers some statistics about the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network?
The Cancer Action Network, we do an annual summit lobby day in September, and as part of that, we are one of the few nonprofits that will literally have every single representation from every single state. When we descend on the hill that day, every state in the union is being represented for the legislators to talk about our various issues of the day.
Wow.
There are also more than 17 million cancer survivors now in the nation. We are an emerging population. As research improves and things get more targeted, people survive. So we need attention as well. The last piece I want to make sure we leave everyone with is we do an annual fundraiser called Lights of Hope. And that is really important for us because what we do is it enables almost anyone to participate in supporting our mission. We have bags, you purchase bags that are $10 each. You can have as many as you like to honor or memorialize someone who has been touched by cancer. They're then placed as luminaries in Washington, D.C., one of the nights of the summit. And I will tell you, to see tens of thousands of bags as luminaries in messages in honor of, in memory of, is powerful and haunting. And the funds raised for that help us support our mission and our advocacy.
Wow. As being an advocate for cancer, let's talk about, I want to go back over to like the personal side, right? Like what advice would you give someone that is freshly brand new diagnosed with cancer?
The first thing is to take a breath. The next thing is to remember that you are strong and to definitely, if you have the time to do your research, to get a second opinion, but to know that in the end, doctors know good, but you know your body, you know your lifestyle, you know what works for you.
Thank you.
And to listen to that, listen to that, always.
So when you danced at the wedding all night, right?
Yes, I did.
How did it feel?
It was amazing. Caught me, Ivan.
It's all right, it's all right.
Just to be there and watch our son and his beautiful bride enjoy. and to walk down the aisle arm in arm with my husband and him, and to dance with Ethan was a moment that we weren't sure I was going to get.
And you got
And
it.
to be there was amazing. It was actually really great as we were dancing. You know, Ethan and I are just doing the sway thing, right?
Right.
And he says, "Mom, can I spin you?" And I said, "Yes."
You're gonna spin me today.
Yes. Today you can spin me. And it was just lovely.
Nice. Love it.
Yes, and thank you for sharing that with all of us, because obviously we all see that you are still fighting.
It is a lifelong.
Right. It's
Right.
a lifelong fight.
Yes.
And you're fighting for others now.
Yes.
And that's what I think is more powerful, is that you're using your superpowers, your strength, not only fight for your life, but also to help others. And we need more people like you, Jan. We off camera, Ivan, Jan and I were just talking and connecting, and I was sharing with her that, you know, I've always been compassionate and understanding of others and individuals and families who have gone through cancer. But it really, really hits differently when it's happening in your own family. And it puts life into perspective.
Yes.
And it makes you think differently and change things, and how you look at cancer. We think, oh, we'll fight it, we'll get through it. But it's exhausting. It's draining, it's scary,
Yes.
and you don't know the unknown.
The
That's the part that is so scary, is the unknown. And when you're diagnosed with cancer and they use the word unique,
Yes.
that you don't want to have a unique cancer. You want to have the normal average cancer, because there's not, you think, oh, there's one type of cancer. No, there are a
Many,
variety,
yeah.
and it's different for every person's body and their genes and their background, and whether they're female, male, whatever it is, it's scary. And you are the perfect example. The American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network is very, very fortunate to have you as the face representative speaking on this, because like we said earlier, that you've been through it and you're still going through it, and you're fighting for those that are afraid to speak up or don't know what to say or how to say it. So we appreciate what you're doing. And I want to go back to the event that's coming up, because I think it's important that we touch on that and see how people could be a part of it. And is it free to attend, or is there?
I think it's going to be in Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C.,
Is
okay.
gonna be, but it's also going to be virtual as well, because we're sort of walking
Perfect.
both of those worlds right now.
Beautiful. That's great.
But for people to participate, as I said, there are bags available. They can get them through the fightcancer.org and the
Okay.
website for Delaware. And that way unfortunately, in Delaware, I don't think there is a single family that has not been impacted by cancer in some way. If not in their immediate family, they certainly know someone.
Yeah.
So if they wish to honor or memorialize someone so we can continue our fight, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna participate. My dad passed from cancer in 2013.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and it's a thing.
Right.
Perspective. What is your perspective now on life? Because you go from a black belt in Kempo, which is hard. And, right, a woman that accomplished many things, to now being an advocate.
And this is a world, I think I shared with the Jens, a world I was never ever going to walk into.
Right.
In terms of my perspective, family, friends, memories are everything.
Yes.
Making the memories. The day of the wedding, all I kept thinking to myself is, my heart took a picture. My heart took a picture.
Oh, I love
wanted
that.
to save it. My heart took a picture. I stole the line from
I
a
love
movie,
that.
so I
Jan,
can't
I'm stealing that
save
line
it. I stole
now.
it.
My
I was
heart
just that's a T-shirt, Jan. Jan about to get me sued.
But do we want to serve our clients? Certainly. Do we want to do certain other things? But in the end, it's the family, it's the friends, it's the memories.
Yes, it is. My heart took a picture. I love that.
I love that. I freaking love it.
Thank you for sharing that.
Jan, you're freaking awesome. We gotta get these trophies immediately.
Yes.
Oh, Jan, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for
sharing.
having me and for allowing us to share this.
Anytime. I think because I'm creating a women's network on DETV, and in there is health and wellness, and I think I would love to partner with the American Cancer Society to make sure that we get more information out there, especially regarding it's targeted to women.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I would love to further the conversation with that, because again, heroes like yourself oh my gosh, could change someone's life, and especially that's going through right now, you know, that just need to hear a whisper of hope, a
Yes.
whisper of change.
Yes.
I can tell you, I would love to be a part of that. You know, in the beginning, they're like, well, we don't know how well you're going to walk again. You won't do karate again. We don't know if you'll dance again. And I looked at them and said, move.
Right,
And
right.
so
Yeah.
they have told me you shouldn't be able to do what you're doing. And I'm like, well, I am. So rewrite the rule book.
Rewrite it.
There you
There you go.
go.
Jen has rewritten her book of life. I love it. And her heart took a picture. I love it. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, this is your camera, right? The community camera. Tell the community what you want them to know about the organization.
Sure. Thank you so much for the opportunity. There are essentially 3 messages I want to leave you with. The first is, over COVID, so many people, for so many reasons, didn't get their screenings. Please go get your screenings, and for information on that, you can go to cancer.org. If you want to do really impactful volunteer work, join us in the advocacy, and you can get more information on that at fightcancer.org. And to honor or memorialize someone for Lights of Hope, I'm hoping they're putting the lower third in for that URL because it's too long for me to say. And if not, you can also find it through fightcancer.org. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Jan. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
What's up, everyone? It's your main man, Big Ob, the talk of the town, Mr. DETVCH.com, and I'm here with my wonderful and amazing co-host,
Vincenza.
We just stopped by to tell you to be sure, if you want any information on what's going on in Wilmington and to meet some dynamic people doing some amazing and great things, be sure to watch us live on Good Morning Wilmington on Mondays and Wednesdays at 10 p.m.
Oh, Ivan, 10 a.m.
Which he said, 10 a.m.
Listen to me. That's why he has me here. But yes, tune in live, 10 a.m. Monday and Wednesday on Good Morning Wilmington.
DETVCH.com.